Okay, let's begin the program today by a recitation of the Mother of Holy Quran, Al-Fatiha.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana. Innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'd. Good morning to our respected speaker, Datuk Muhammad Zabidi Ahmad, professors, doctors, researchers, officers, and fellow students. Alhamdulillah, it is a new day in our life, and we start our day productively and meaningfully by attending this Bridging Theory Practice Talk series. And welcome to this short webinar. We are glad to have experienced an outstanding industrial person, Datuk Muhammad Zabidi Ahmad, to join us, share with us, and present his knowledge and experience. For your information, this Bridging Theory Practice Talk series is proudly brought to you by Postgraduate Studies Unit, College of Business, COB, and Islamic Business School, IBS UUM. Before we move further, it is reminded that this program runs in WebEx event. Thus, the mic will be made unavailable to the participants. So if you wish to ask a question, please kindly write in the chatting space so that I can address all the questions in the later question and answer session. Before we move further, allow me to introduce our today's speaker. Datuk Muhammad Zabidi Ahmad was previously Senior Managing Director and Regional Head, Islamic Treasury, Treasury and Markets Group Wholesale Banking, CIM Group. He has been in the banking industry for 38 years, including 19 years experience in Group Treasury, Conventional and Islamic, Corporate, Deposits Investment Client Solutions, Interbank, Marketing, Fixed Income and Derivatives, Product Development and Structuring. He also had overseas experience as chief dealer for 5 years in London. Currently, he is responsible to develop Islamic Treasury franchise for CIMB Group regionally, including United Kingdom, Singapore, Indonesia, Brunei, and Thailand. In 2019, his leadership had been chosen by polls and awarded as Best Islamic Bank for Treasury Management IFN Awards 2019. Previously, managing about 100 billions of Islamic assets for Group Islamic Banking. He also holds various positions in the CIMB Group as Chairman of Investment Account Oversight Committee, IAOC, Committee Member in Group Islamic Management Committee, GIBC, Treasury and Market Committee, TMC, and Group Islamic Wholesales Banking Committee, GIWBC. He also has vast experience in wholesale banking business for Group Islamic Banking. Currently, had retired from the group and working freelance as financial and Islamic finance advisory role. He participated in the Bursa Malaysia, Bank Negara Malaysia working group in the establishment of the Bursa Suk Asila Commodity House. He is currently active chairman of IBIM, AIBIM Treasury and Markets, and leading the CMTC Sukuk Index Task Force, where he successfully launched the sovereign and corporate Bloomberg IBIM Bursa Sukuk Index in September 2012. Recently had launched the practice notes on QOR and commodity murabahah for IBIM member use. He presented papers on Islamic Treasuries products to various central banks offices, including Hong Kong Monetary Authority, HKMA, Central Bank of Republic of Indonesia, BI, and Bank Negara Malaysia, BNM. He also actively participates as a committee member of Islamic Finance Committee at Malaysian Institute Accountant, MIA, since 2017. Datuk Muhammad Zabidi Ahmad holds a Bachelor in Accountancy with Honours UiTM. He is a Chartered Accountant by profession and a practicing member of Malaysian Institute of Accountants, MIA. Certified Senior Financial Market Practitioner, CSMP, by ACI Financial Market of Malaysia, FMAM, and the Asian Institute of Chartered Bankers, AICB. Associate Qualification of Islamic Finance, AKIF, from Islamic Banking and Finance Institute Malaysia, IPFIM, and serves as a committee member in the Islamic Finance Committee of MIA. Recently, he just passed his Viva in Doctor of Business Administration from Oya GSB UUM. Congratulations, Dato'. Hats off.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, some of the best achievement awarded to Dato' include Successful People in Malaysia, BPH, British Publishing House Limited, on 24th July 2020. Best Islamic Bank for Treasury Management, IFM Dubai 2019. Outstanding Overall Student Award, Oya GSB UUM Sintok 2019. Islamic House of the Year Award, Asia RIS Hong Kong, November 2010. Anugerah Hadiah Perkhidmatan Setia 10 tahun by Bank Bumiputra Malaysia Berhad, December 31st, 1994. And not to mention, Dato' has always been actively writing in a number of refereed journals, including IF News, Islamic Finance News. So without further ado, our program will start with 40 to 45 minutes talk delivered by Dato', and then followed by Q&A session about 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah? So without further ado, I invite Dato'. The stage is yours, the mic is yours, Dato'.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Fikri. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good morning to all participants. And firstly, I would like to thanks Professor Subra from Postgraduate Studies Unit, UUM, COB, for inviting me, and also to thanks also to the Islamic Business School having me this morning. And I hope my presentation today will consider sharing knowledge what I have done for Islamic finance, and also to sharing in terms of my knowledge for 38 years in banking for CIMB group. So to start with, I would like to go to the page 2, slide 2, whereby content of my presentation today will be first on the introduction to Islamic finance itself, and secondly on the current development of Islamic finance, third on the how Islamic finance can help during this COVID-19. Fourth will be what's expecting in Islamic finance for 2021 or this year, and the last one I will be discuss on what the academician and also the practitioner can work together in terms of to help the traditional bank moving to the pure Islamic bank, real Islamic bank that been practiced in other jurisdiction. Next. Next slide, please. Okay, in terms of the Islamic finance, what is Islamic finance itself, right? Islamic finance is referred to the business and individual risk capital in accordance to Sharia or Islamic law. Okay, in terms of it also refer to the type of investment that are permissible under this form of law. Islamic finance also can be seen as a unique for a social responsible investment. What is Sharia itself? Sharia is concerned about all form of practical action by a Muslim manifesting his faith and belief. Under Sharia, we have three things behind that is a fiqh, akhlaq, aqidah, and under fiqh is muamalah amanah, which is meaning that it's man-to-man relationship, and this Islamic finance fall under muamalat. How Islamic finance is differ from this conventional space? People said it's same like a conventional. It's not really true. Whereby under Islamic finance, the treatment of the risk and how the risk is shared is required that finance is provided on the principle of profit and loss sharing. The other things on the under Sharia law, right? Law of finance can provide through several type of contract. We have so many contract, but in terms of the conventional itself, we have only one contract, which is it refer to English law, you know, it refer to Swiss law, you know, that kind of thing. But under Sharia law, we have several type of contract need to be, monitor. Next slide, please. So Sharia is facilitate unlimited market for Islamic financial institution product and services as they are beneficial for both Muslim and non-Muslim customer. For example, Muslim, right? People, they wanted something product that and services that provide them value and meet their personal and preferred Sharia application as found under the different school of laws. Hanbali, Maliki, and also Hanafi. For non-Muslim, right, they wanted a product and services that provide them value, under Islamic finance market, whereby there is a lot of what conventional have, Islamic also have, whereby in terms of banking, money market, debt capital market, equity capital market, derivative, private equity, takafu, REITs, asset management, wealth, and non-financial services. Next slide, please. In terms of the to do with this Islamic finance, there is certain rule need to be observed. Avoidance of this provision among them is riba, which is any predetermined payment over and above the amount of principal is prohibited. Secondly, on the ghara, whereby observing that every contract possesses all its essential elements and that every essential elements meet the necessary condition. Third is gambling. Gambling, as you know, as Muslim, we can't gamble, right? For example, manufacturing and selling tobacco. In terms of gambling itself, right? It's a betting or wagering by agreement between two or more person. Fourth, producing and selling goods that are no value. In this case, for example, like manufacturing and selling tobacco related product, and providing entertainment such as discotheque, pub, nightclubs, karaoke outlets, massage, that kind of thing cannot be under Islamic finance. Lastly, producing and selling non-halal good such as liquor, pork, and pig-related industries, other non-halal goods. This is not allowed under the Islamic finance itself. Next one, please. So now I'm moving towards to the what you call that among the concept according to the Sharia or Islamic principle. Firstly, on the musyarakah, whereby refer to the partnership between two or more parties, where all parties share the profit and bear the loss from the partnership. Normally, in terms of the profit itself, it will be based on the proportion on the contribution of the capital itself. Based on my experience, the musyarakah mostly is ideal alternative for interest-based financing, playing a vital role in economy based upon Islamic principle, meaning that most of these what we call that these musyarakah mutanafisa have been used in term to for the financing product, but lately we can see most of the financing product are using the murabahah structure. Secondly, on the Sharia principle that we can use under Islamic finance or normally under banking, Islamic banking is ijarah, whereby it's meant to give something or rent, which is there is two different situations here. Two different situations is whereby first to employ the service on the person on wages given to him as consideration for his hired services. Second type of ijarah is that is generally used as a form of investment, and also a mode of financing. Based on my experience in banking, mostly we are using ijarah on the financing structure. As I mentioned earlier, ijarah in terms of the portfolio that we have mostly under commodity murabahah structure. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, now we go towards to the mudarabah, which is a contract between two parties. One who provide the fund, we call it rabumal, and the other who provide the expertise and who agree to the division of any profit made in advance. We call it mudarib. Mudarabah in early stage, we are using it for the purpose of collection of our deposit during that time before this ISA 2013 coming out, whereby ISA 2013 mentioning about mudarabah is fall under the investment account. Okay, so the next one I go towards to the wakalah. Wakalah refer to the agency, or you are delegating duty to another party for a specific purpose and under certain condition. Under this concept of wakalah, the bank become the agent. For the bank, based on my experience, we don't charge any agency fees to the client. Normally we waive it, and this wakalah structure we are using also for the purpose of collecting money, and also some of the structure of the sukuk we are using wakalah also. Then after ISA 2013 coming in, it qualified wakalah as the under it's not more under deposit product, but it fall under investment product. So this is why mudarabah and also wakalah is no more become a deposit guaranteed by the bank. It fall under the investment account, which is for the bank we can the risk is at the investor level, whereby we can give a higher return compared to the normal deposit that they offering, for example, like the commodity murabah structure. Lastly, on the murabah, I mentioned earlier, which is now we call it a tawaruk. The term refers to buying and selling transaction between the bank, which is a financial institution itself, and the customer, whereby the former buys properties at the prevailing market price and sell it to the customer as a markup price, where payment are made by installment over a period of time agreed upon by both parties. Based on my studies on this commodity murabaha, it seems that latest 2019, it seems that the financing that using murabaha by financial institution in Malaysia have been more than 85%. So some comments saying that it creating a depth to the market, and I hope that in future we have to use something like musyarakah structure or general structure, which is more suits to the Islamic finance itself. Okay, next one. Next slide, please. Okay, on this one, I want to share in terms of the current development in terms of Islamic finance in Malaysia. Before that, I just highlighted in terms of global Islamic finance AUM at the moment in 2020 have reached about 2.733 trillion. In terms of the composition of this asset, is about 74% coming from the banking, is about 2.014 trillion. 17% is coming from the sukuk issuance, which is about 476 billion. 4% from Islamic fund is about 120 billion. 2% from takaful, which is about 53 billion. And 1% is very small that I will discuss later, which is on Islamic microfinancing, which is about 30 billion. In terms of the penetration rate for Islamic financing, it seems that a percentage of the entire banking system on the financing for Malaysia have been, increased, have been stood at 39.9% as at June last year. But in terms of achievement to 40%, what Bank Negara wanted, which is under Bank Negara blueprint, by 2020, all Islamic banks must have about 40% of Islamic financing asset. I believe these numbers have been achieved, whereby we can see from what we call that, from one of the biggest bank in Malaysia, which is Maybank. Their asset is already about 60% plus in terms of Islamic entity, Islamic asset that they are holding. Despite the COVID-19, the domestic financial group effort to expand the sector and strong growth in household financing, this is why we can see the numbers has been increased towards to the 40%. Beside that, why I mentioned that the penetration is high on the Islamic side, because of last year, Bank Negara have been, cutting down the interest rate in Islamic, we call it a profit rate, towards to the lower level. And the other reason why we can see a faster growth in Islamic finance over the years, because of some of the banks have been adopted an Islamic first strategy, meaning that bank will always offer Islamic product first for certain product. So this is the things that what from my knowledge and experience on the with the bank, it depends on the management of those bank, whereby, for example, we can see Maybank, why their asset now towards to more Islamic than conventional. Reason being of earlier their policies and their way of moving forward is to offer Islamic product first to their clients. The other things that I want to highlight here, and then Moody also said that in terms of the total Islamic finance all over the world, Saudi Arabia is the the largest Islamic banking market, share about almost 79% of the country total financing as at last year. It quite surprised, like Oman, the country is considered the fastest growing with market share about 15.6%. Compare is about 2.8% in 2013, and is considered commendable because of the law in Islamic banking law was introduced in Oman just in 2012. In terms of the Islamic finance country index by the IFCCI in 2013, Malaysia still ranking number 1, and Indonesia is number 2. Number 3 is Iran. Number 4 is Saudi, and number 5 is Sudan. Number 6 is Pakistan. Brunei now is number 7. 8 is UAE, and 9 is Bangladesh, and number 10 is Kuwait. Okay, I move to the Sukuk issuance, right? In Malaysia, we can see global issuance of the Islamic Sukuk. We can see because of the COVID-19, we can see that some decline by 16.4% last year after 4 years consecutive growth. Sukuk issuance size is about 139.8 billion in 2020 compared to the 167.30 billion in 2019. Malaysia remain the world biggest Sukuk issuance. Next slide, please. Reason being of why this decline on the Sukuk issuance for last year, because of lower issuance of corporate Sukuk in Southeast Asia in first half of 2020. And in Malaysia, we know that the coronavirus pandemic, large issuance is coming from the government Sukuk, but it not really good because of the weaknesses on the private issuance side. The significant slowdown of core Islamic finance economy in 2020 because of measure implemented by various governments to contain the COVID-19. I want to quote here, Moody's said that you still see the long-term growth of potential of Islamic finance as both the Islamic banking and Sukuk market remain underrepresented in the global Islamic financial system. But they will see that the Africa, Turkey, and also Bangladesh as being among the most promising new market for Sukuk issuance moving forward. One key area within the Sukuk market that expected to gain ground is green Sukuk, which is for sustainability agenda from the GCC country and also the Asia Pacific country. As for the information, green Sukuk issuance last year is very small, around 4.5 billion US dollar. Interestingly, that Malaysia are still far behind Indonesia in terms of green Sukuk. We just issue about 500 million compared to Indonesia, which is a high amount. The other things that why I can say that Sukuk issuance is lower last year because of the political conflicts in a number of Muslim countries, low oil price that we can see last year, and some issue on the structural, and stiff innovation, and also the maturity of the industry itself. So I'm moving forward to the next topic, which is how Islamic finance can help during this COVID-19. Islamic finance instruments have relevant at each stage of response and recovery that we face ahead on this COVID-19. Based on the sources of the UNDP, they have categorized about three stages here, whereby short-term, we call it emergency support. We can use instrument like zakat and also corporate giving, which is in terms of feature and benefit, will be immediate disbursement in term and cash transfer. In terms of medium term, they are proposing about support and recovery. We can use in terms of the asset and also trade financing, impact investing, whereby in terms of benefit, we support businesses and individuals securing means of livelihood. And long term, as we know, for recovery and also resilience, we can use the instrument such as Sukuk and also Wakaf. For Sukuk, as we know, is provide long-term funding for government and also businesses. For Wakaf, is provide permanent asset for sustainability, social impact. So next one, I brief further on certain instrument, which is we call it first on the zakat, right? Zakat, infak, and also sadaqah that were mentioned more than 100 times in Al Quran serve as instrument in social welfare sector to include microfinance. On this zakat, right, it can be used for the social welfare purpose. For example, support people in need or that have lost portion of income without any expectation of repayment or remuneration, right? Zakat also could help in terms of compensate the loss of income of household because of COVID-19. For example, here, right, we can see that Basnas, the National Board of Zakat have signed the Memorandum of Understanding with the PF5 regarding synergy in implementation of the SDG agenda in Indonesia. This initiative have been recognized by UNDP, United Nations Development Program agenda. The innovation that they can do is that one of the things that Basna doing that initiate the model of financing electricity access to poverty alleviation so that it become relative for low income people in Indonesia. This thing have been, revealed in inauguration of the micro hydropower plant in Jambi in 2018. Next one. Before I move further to this one on the banks, investor, and also other financial can likewise optimize their SDG impact. The other instrument that we can use for short term is that on the Qadrul Hasan. This instrument consists of loan granted for welfare purpose or to bridge short-term funding requirement where the borrower is required to repay only the principal. For example, this thing has been using by the central bank of some GCC country for liquidity for financial institution at no cost to provide subsidized lending to their corporate and also SME client. This is instrument that we can use on the short term, right? So on this one, right, banks, investor, and also the financier can likewise optimize their SDG impact we can see now for this agenda, we can see like Barakah, HSBC Amanah and CIMB Islamic itself as go towards to the SDG agenda by United Nations, whereby the main purpose, because in Europe there have been, whereby when these banks have using the sustainability agenda, they are not really helping the future generation, but is increase the profitability of the bank. On this one, like I can mention like HSBC Amanah, in the case of this SDG, they have launched about 500 million suku in 2018, considered the first world first United Nations SDG suku. Beside that, the HSBC Amanah also taken the lead in terms of the sustainability investment by launching the 5 years first ever environmental, social and governance Islamic structure product, which is in the market. So this is also in line with this Bank Negara, VBI, or value-based intermediation. We seek to ensure that the development of nation financial market is consistent with the current focus on global sustainability agenda. The three main outcomes from the implementation of the sustainability initiative for Malaysian business will be improvement in terms of the operational efficiency, transparency, and traceability, as well as growth in sales. Then this is also the HSBC, the group SGT, we call it a bond framework, whereby the proceed will be used to support project contributing towards to the United Nations SDG, namely, for example, like SDG 3, which is good health and well-being, SDG 4, quality education, SDG 6, which is clean water and also and sanitation, SDG 7, which is affordable and clean energy, SDG 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. And lastly, on the SDG 13, which is climate change. Okay, on next one, on this slide, right, is about suku, which is one of these instruments for the can be used during this COVID-19. Suku and Wakaf can provide longer term financing, as you know, and also enhance resilience. In this case, we can see here that these are the suku where the rate of return decline if the issuer fail to fulfill certain social objective. For example, in this case, we can see earlier suku Ihsan issued by the Khazanah National Berhad in 2015 to 2017 is considered one example. This instrument could help, in terms of support the education and healthcare system during this COVID-19. And also it can attract the ESG investor. In fact, this social suku also, like the government of Indonesia, have issued about 2.5 billion US dollar in Wakalah global suku in 3 tranches in June 2020. This is considered a green suku. Malaysia Ministry of Finance have been issuing in August last year, issued the government first digital retail suku of 119.4, equivalent to Malaysian ringgit about 500 million ringgit, as part of the National Economic Recovery for the purpose of COVID-19. In terms of the ICDN, United Nations, over here is that whereby they, in terms of the, I want to say here in terms of using wakaf, right, as part of instrument to help during the COVID-19. Wakaf, as you know, is consists of a donation of an asset or cash from religious or charitable purpose with no intention of repayment. Wakaf in the current circumstances could help provide affordable housing solution or access to health care and education for people that might have lost a portion of their income. For example, in this case, United Nations agency signed an agreement with Islamic Cooperation for the Development of private sector to look at the potential use of wakaf as a source of sustainability financing, focusing on vulnerable Saudi communities. Reason I would like to share that worldwide wakaf asset are projected to have a value of between 100 billion to 1 trillion US dollar. Can you imagine? This is quite huge potential to help the Islamic finance to grow further. For example, in this case, right, innovative combination is cash wakaf link suku introduced by Bank Indonesia and also the Indonesia Wakaf Board in 2018. Beside that, in Malaysia, as you know, wakaf land estimated about 11,091 hectare, around 384 millions wakaf available to be used to help this COVID-19. Next one. So I go towards today, moving forward after explaining about all the instruments that can help during this COVID-19. In 2021, what I expect, and so some of the what you call that, the Islamic finance practitioner forecasting that for this year, we're expecting that Islamic finance social instrument can help core industry, banks, companies, and also individual economically affected by the COVID-19. With market participant will be eyeing on the Qadrul Hasan, Zakat, Wakaf, and Social Suku. For example, in this Islamic Development Bank was first mover with issuing about 1.5 billion sustainability suku, which reportedly be used to help member country cope with the effect of pandemic, particularly on the healthcare and small and mid-sized enterprise segment. And we also expect similar issuance in core Islamic finance country, and believe that could help Islamic finance industry back on environmental, social, and also governance investor radar. The other things that I foresee this year is that the importance of the leveraging technology and creating a nimbler Islamic finance industry. Higher the digitalization and also the fintech collaboration could help strengthen the resilience of the industry in more volatile environment and open new avenues for growth. Something that I would like to share, for example, like Zakat Selangor, before this, they have using the utilize the financial technologies to improve in terms of their collection and also the zakat distribution. They call it e-Tizer, introduced in 2020 for zakat distribution. And in terms of zakat payment, they are using the debit card, ATM, and also mobile banking. This is example whereby when we're using the digital way, whereby you can see for collection, the amount have been increased from the 582 million in 2014 towards to the 794 million in 2018. In terms of distribution of zakat itself had been increased from 595 million towards to the 830 million for 2018. I think this is the good thing that when during this COVID-19, digital have been and fintech have helped a lot of people, especially during PB, that kind of thing. So that is much more efficient that way. Lastly, in terms of the what I'm looking for this 2021 this year is that on the Sukuk space itself. Next slide, please. Okay, itself, some sovereign in core Islamic finance country will tap the Sukuk market more aggressively in 2021. We also foresee an increase of issuance by the corporate this year. In fact, I've been talking to one of the Islamic biggest bank, the head of capital market. He said that the pipeline for this year is very good, and we anticipate that the overall total Sukuk issuance will be reached between 140 to 155 billion for this year, compared to the 139.8 billion in 2020. But the Sukuk targeting on the social needs and the green agenda are likely to remain embryonic despite opportunities arising from the pandemic and also the energy transition. Okay, this is the forecast for this year, what we expect the market will be, Islamic finance will be growing further this year. Okay, next one. So this is the things that I want to share in terms of the issue that challenges that the traditional financial institution facing, whereby mostly we are funded by rate-seeking funding, mostly from depositor and also shareholder, which they are require return on deposit and also investment. Depositor for traditional financial institution normally require a guarantee and protection on their deposit and also placement. In terms of that, the other things that banking also facing is that financial institution risk management practice are built around upholding higher objective, protecting depositor of monies. That's why we can see in terms of microfinance, some of the small entrepreneur can get the financing from the bank. Reason being of nature of the micro enterprise itself, whereby they are typically lack of credit track record, weak financial position, and informal business structure. Due to this weak credit and also lack collateral, sometimes if they get probably the microcredit attract the higher borrowing rate, meaning that higher rate compared to the corporate side. The other thing is that we can see limited infrastructure for extensive outreach. We don't have so many platforms to help the this underserved segment on those microfinancings. The other thing we can see that limited capabilities for extensive monitoring and coaching of micro enterprise. This is the things that why you can see that why banking nowadays, because minimum they need about 3 years, financial, that kind of thing, right? And good financial capability to pay. But I think all this record is not there. There is some issue that I think the academician and also the practitioner to work in to help this kind of segment, which is for me is micro financial level. Okay, next one. Next slide. Okay, in terms of the challenges for the microfinancing, right? I think, as you know, the microfinancial institution is the organization that offer financial services to low-income population. Almost all give loan to their members, and many offer insurance, deposit, and other services. A great scale of organization is regarded as microfinance institute. Some challenges, what I mentioned earlier, is that most of these microfinance segment are relying on the government subsidized government, and then some of them, they don't have product to be offered to the need. The only things that based on my reading, Amanah Ikhtiar is one of the microfinance institution that offering to offer the people who are this kind of segment. So I think on this, the next slide. Next slide. Okay, on this one, based on the research that I make from the research called Microfinance in Malaysia, a review by this Adamia and also the Ibrahim in 2019, we can see that from 1987 and to 2018, we have about 134 articles. But the story is about impact on the perspective towards the client and also the borrower, standard of living and business survival. And I think academician and also the practitioner need to work more angle of research, need to be contributing from the microfinance view, such as efficiency, governance, commercial, and also marketing, and adoption of advanced technology. I hope this will help this segment to grow further, because I think this is under this segment. I think if we can fix this, I think it will contribute more to the growth of the Malaysian economy as overall. So with that, I think that's my end of my slide. Hopefully, academician or the the PhD or the student, can look in terms of doing some research on this topic. Will benefit the industry of micro finance as a whole. With that, thank you very much. I give back to the doctor. Thanks, Doctor.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Datuk Zabidi, Datuk Muhammad Zabidi. Now, we are moving to the Q&A session. question and answer session.
Yeah.
I welcome to all the audiences, ladies and gentlemen, please write in the chatting space if you do have questions to be asked, to be posed to Datuk Muhammad Zabidi. In the chatting space, we do have one question here.
Yeah.
As we know, the banking industry today is heavily affected by COVID-19, and many banks recorded declining profits in the latest quarterly report. My question is this the right time for an Islamic bank to merge an acquisition into becoming a mega Islamic bank? In your opinion, Dato'?
Okay, this is my personal opinion. It's nothing to do with the regulators or what, But I think the profit for some banks, right, have been lower, because of COVID-19. I think this thing will be a temporary basis. What you mentioned to have one Islamic bank, this is ambition that we wanted. The agenda, before this, we wanted to have the one mega Islamic bank. But without merging this current bank, right? I think the current bank have done their role to what you call that, achieve the blueprint of Bank Negara by having an asset of Islamic about 40%. And I think like Maybank, we can see now, you see their asset now is about 60% plus in terms of the Islamic asset. I think these banks are moving toward that. As far that, as you know, that Islamic finance is not for conventional people, it's not for Islamic people, it's for both. As far that we can give competitive pricing, competitive product, whatever that we have under conventional, we already have under Islamic. One thing about just to share, right? Before that, when I'm my experience when I'm taking care about in 2007, during that time, head of treasury, Datuk Lee Kok Kwan, mentioning that, I want you to develop the Islamic treasury. During that time we have only one product. But Alhamdulillah, during my last of retirement day, I've managed about 99%. We already have the Islamic product compared to the conventional. I think it's good in terms of pricing, in terms of structure. We must make sure that the product is really superior, not much hurdle for them to do, because we must understand that under dual banking leveraging model, whereby is done by the non-Muslim. Also, we need to make sure that they understand this product, then the product is simple for them to do. For example, the process of murabaha, the process to make sure that the simplification of this product so that there will be no issue on the compliance or Sharia compliance, compliance of the risk, that kind of thing. That one must be make sure that the product is superior, one thing. And we still need one thing that I can share over here is that what we need a true Islamic bank. Now we can see that most of the my study now, it seems that people are, the Islamic bank are moving towards to the what we call that towards the commodity murabah, which is for me is increase a debt in the market. What we can do, something like Islamic bank can totally go through towards to the real Islamic finance structure. For example, using the musyarakah, moving towards to the mudarabah base. So these are the things that we need to do. If we don't want the things that mirroring the conventional, so this is the things that we need one dedicated Islamic bank, which is is allowed in terms of risk, can give higher return, that kind of thing. So that's the things that so that we don't argue in terms, the Islamic bank now is mirroring the conventional bank. We don't want that thing to be, you know, coming out from certain people, you know, why I should do Islamic because it's same like we try to mitigate that you know, that words coming out from those people lah actually. So if we wanted something, a new Islamic bank, we can do, but it's a true Islamic bank that what I mentioned here, we can do wakalah, mudarabah, you know, ijara, you know, what we call that, musyarakah, mutanakisah, which is, I think this is a true Islamic structure that we can, you know, what we call that, apply in new Islamic bank for Malaysia. This is just my my personal view. Yeah. All right. I hope that answered the question. Thank you.
Okay, answered for M&A issue.
Yeah.
Next, we have a question from Ahmad Tarmizi Abu Hanifah. Banks do not make much money from microfinancing.
Yeah.
How
Okay.
can we entice them?
Okay. Okay. I think. Thank you for the question. It's a good question. I think for the bank, right? Bank, that's the problem of the bank, you see, because not to say I could say that bank is not good, but the issue here is that bank, as I mentioned here, is that the traditional bank itself, they have to protect their depositor, right? So the things that they wanted to give, for example, like a very small margin on the microfinancing, and this finance, I mean, segment is very risky. I don't think it will go right, because the important thing, you have to make money to the shareholder. You must protect the depositor, right? You must protect the shareholder. That's the issue. The other things that we can do is that probably we can have something like, you know, amanah kita. We can have something like, now we have the investment account platform, which is, you know, consists of a consortium of the bank is a shareholder. This is the platform that we can do, whereby it's allowed, you know, people that, you know, the microfinance, you know, customer who are rejected by the bank go under this platform. I'm sure there is investor in this case, right, wanted to help the microfinance, but, you know, we don't want everything relying on the government, everything relying on government. So this IAP can have something like, you know, taking something like the visitor, you know, people who are wanted to invest in this kind of a platform, you know, making probably a good return, or something like, you know, they wanted to help this industry, right? Probably give something like Khadrul Hassan, right? I mentioned that. So this is the things that we can use the current platform that we have. We call it investment account platform lah. So this thing need to be, you know, like academician and also the practitioner have to work together, you know, to build up this IAP platform, to make sure that this segment is, you know, not relying on the one that who are very lower credit scoring, something like that, you know, that kind of thing, right? So go to this platform, at least can help, you know, this kind of people who can get the financing from the bank, to get the financing to run their, I mean, small business, for example, like, you know, who wanted to start you know, business in burger, you know, that kind of thing, right? So it will help the lower income people where to go. But now they are relying on, you know, some of the government, everything, you know, that kind of thing. So for me, it's not the way how it's supposed to be moving forward lah. So that's the things lah. I hope that answer the question of Tamizi lah. Tamizi also my friend actually.
Okay. I think I remember this apa Tarmizi ni from UMKL, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a best student for masters. Yes.
Okay, next question. Islamic finance products could be thought with opportunities of blockchain technology. What's your opinion, Dato'?
Okay. Okay. For me, it can be still open for the I mean, for the what we call the Sharia practitioner, you know, to come together. How to make it regulated? The problem is blockchain is that it's not regulated, right? In fact, sometime in terms of the volatility of this blockchain, right? Right. You mean this blockchain of Bitcoin or blockchain of what?
I think this is a different issue between Bitcoin and blockchain. Blockchain is a new, I think some sort of digitalization juga lah.
Okay. So not Bitcoin. Okay, so on the blockchain side, it will be helping because for me the blockchain is more secure. For example, right, in my research paper together with the most academician, right? I think the blockchain is good, whereby no intervention from human, whereby everything is inside there. For example, when we wanted to do this commodity murabaha, we call it, everything will be coming up from the blockchain itself. For example, a smart contract. We call it smart contract, whereby no intervention, meaning that the client will go to this platform to do, buying and selling without the agent intervention. So everything at the bank level also go into this platform, So there is no, the process will be, insecure. There will be mitigate from the Sharia issue. Probably the cost will be lower, and the other thing, the efficiency lah. Because kalau if that's to share with the audience here, the cost of commodity to do this murabahah transaction is before, I still remember in 2007 when I starting this murabahah during that time. During that time, the cost is about 50 ringgit per million, right? If you do in US dollar, 1 million US dollar is about 50 US dollars. Okay. Then after that, it moved, when the new coming broker coming in, that kind of thing. Until now, we have about 6 commodity broker. The price has been coming down from 50 ringgit. Now, if you do, they do a tiering, whereby now for overnight, probably about 3 to 5 ringgit. And for longer term is 18, I think about 10 to 18 ringgit. So this is the things that, why I said that if through what we call that, the digitalization, we have the cost efficiency, so that the cost that we bearing by the bank, which will be lesser, because from my experience, some bank, their yearly cost for the commodity murabah itself sometimes 3 to 4 million ringgit. Can you imagine? So this cost, some of the bank is transferred to the client. Some of them is absorbing by the bank itself. So this is the thing that why we need, what blockchain is very important to be implemented, because of to mitigate the risk and also the Sharia issue and also the cost of the commodity itself. For me, just to add my view, right? The tawarruk, is suitable for the liquidity management, not for the financing per se. Can you imagine if we go towards 85%? Can you imagine? That's why the cost of the commodity is higher than, if one bank we have about, katalah 10 bank. Can you imagine if 3 million, it's about 30 million ringgit that Islamic bank in Malaysia have to bear. This is not really, for me, is still a cost to the bank lah. Why not we coming up with the financial structure that using the musyarakah ijarah, which is the less, no cost, the lesser cost than compared to the additional cost that we have to pay for the commodity transaction. Hope they answer you.
Okay, next question from Atukunda Shifa. This is kind of highly expected question. What's your opinion what is your opinion if just now we are discussing about blockchain, and this one is about Bitcoin. What is your opinion on the idea of Bitcoin in Islamic finance? Can we trade in Bitcoin using Islamic finance? Using Islamic finance, I mean, maybe using the underlying Sharia permissibility, whether it is permissible or impermissible, maybe.
Okay, that one I can comment. Okay, I don't want to comment because this is only Sharia expert can comment. But the only thing that I can comment on the Bitcoin is that, for me, Bitcoin is still not regulated, right? Like bank, we have regulated by central bank. But this Bitcoin, we don't have a, for example, a central bank to regulate it. So if anything happen, right, the issue here is that customer is not protected, right? So it can be, secondly, one is not protected. Secondly, whether you are willing to go to volatile market or not, because you can see the Bitcoin movement from, from what we call that, for example, $16 per Bitcoin. It can move towards to 10. Are you willing to take that? For me, Sharia is some issue there, because it's very volatile. And then the other thing is that in terms of Sharia itself, right? Whatever transaction, you must have the underlying asset. If not, it's not called a Sharia product lah. So that is basically that I know. But in terms of comment on whether Bitcoin is halal or not halal, I can comment on that. Probably we have to have some coffee and asking the Datuk Dr. Daud Bakar, because I think that Dr. Daud Bakar is expert on this Bitcoin punya ni lah, because I can't comment on that. So hopefully we can have further discussion, outside discussion from this one lah. Yeah. I'm sorry I can't answer that whether halal or not. Apologize for that.
Okay. Next question. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for your informative speech, Dato'. Badrul from UiTM Kedah would like to ask about our sukuk market presently. As we know, the market are already affected by C19, COVID-19 pandemic. What could be the reason for our corporate sukuk issuance could regain the momentum back in terms of sukuk issuance? I mean, maybe in terms of post-COVID-19.
Okay. To answer to that, why I mentioned that this year I'm expecting about 140 to 150 billion. Mostly will be the issue. Mostly will be from the government or sovereign, right? Because government during this COVID-19, a lot of things need to be done to stimulate the economy. If not, we are dead. Because if we extend further, we need to issue this kind of sukuk to help the people, to sustain their living, sustain their work, that kind of thing. And the other thing what I expect from the corporate is that probably they because they need to for example, some of the sukuk have been due, so they will be issue another one, which I think is good time for them to come in. Reason being of as issuer, right, with lower interest rate regime, right, we call it, it's good for them to coming in now, for example, they can issue probably about 10 to 20 years sukuk, right, but it must be in terms of the green sukuk for SDG purpose, so that kind of sukuk will be attracting investor to coming in, not really in local market, but from outside the country. For example, we can see IDB issuing the sukuk about 1.5 billion earlier, right, for the purpose of education, that kind of thing. So I think that part, for example, like probably quote unquote, right, probably tenaga will be coming in to increase further, that kind of business towards to the Sabah Sarawak that need the the electricity, that kind of thing lah. So this is the things why I said that why we can see that sukuk issuance for this year will be higher, because of we need that funding, to the corporate need a funding to expand their business. For example, like in terms of the MRT project, that kind of thing, right? So some corporate need fund, because banks sometimes don't want to need. So they in terms of that, they don't want to do a borrowing direct from the bank. So the only thing that cheaper fund they can get by issuing sukuk, then probably some tax initiative, and in fact they can use something like, funding from, small funding from the United Nations, that kind. So that we help the why I said earlier, I expect this sukuk will be increased this year lah. That's my expectation. Yeah.
Okay, we have another 2 questions before we end this session.
Okay, please.
What are the modes of Islamic finance which are using by SMEs, small and medium size of enterprises?
Okay. For the banks or for the other microfinance institution? Is it proposed or what?
I think the perspective from the banking itself,
okay,
the financial institutions.
Normally, like I said earlier, most of the banks at the moment, 85% or more than 85%, using the murabaha structure, which is cost plus method, right? And then they will be fraction how many years that they have to pay every month, right? So the only thing just to share with the participants saying that why you see some of the rate of Islamic bank is higher, because we are taking that highest rate, for example, that higher rate for the for that, for example, like ringgit, right? We put something like 10%. But in actual fact, it's cheap based on the current rate in actual fact, because for Islamic, the beauty is that if the rate is moving higher than the shilling rate, right, we can't charge anymore. It will be, for example, if we put 10%, if more than, for example, going to 11%, we can charge 1% extra. So that is the beauty of Islamic. The other beauty is that every month will be what you call that, rebate back to the clients. We call it ibrak lah, that kind of thing. So this is the beauty of the Islamic financing lah. The only things that I think that we're moving forward, for example, like you wanted to buy a house, that kind of thing, right? Ijarah structure is ataupun musyarakah, profit sharing, that kind of thing, right? It's good to be offered to the what you call that, to the like SME and then microfinance people. But if we can have something like the what I mentioned IAP earlier, right? It's much more better. We can use the 100% structure using the Islamic finance way lah. That's the thing, that beauty, that if we can have that one to be implemented as depositor and also lending to the this kind of people. That's my answer, right?
Okay, and our last question would be, what is the participant of Islamic banking and institution in fund research about COVID-19? Any report available?
I think there is a lot in the world. If you normally you Google Scholar, that kind of thing, there is a few research that I read lah, but I can't name the name of the research, but I think there is. I can share if this the participant wanted to know about this research on the COVID-19, because for me, I have a contact from not really people, academician from Malaysia, but as you need to have a global, and I'm sure the professor, doctor over here have a contact also, right? So probably you can share the research about COVID. But I've said that there is a research on this, because normally when COVID-19 coming up, sure there'll be a research on this. I have seen that and I have read that actually to confirm that. Yeah.
Okay, so Thank you very much, Dato', for the questions and answer session. Thank you for answering all the questions posed by the audience in our WebEx event and from our Facebook Facebook participants. So before we end this session, maybe some concluding remarks from Dato'.
Okay, one thing about so far, I thank you very much for inviting me. I can share my experience moving forward. No issue for me. I hope this what we call that this talk series, which is the first done by the postgraduate studies unit, UM is very productive for me to share my practitioner experience with academician. Beside that, I think if there is for me, if I have giving wrong impression, salah tersalah cakap, I apologize for that lah. Yeah, because as manusia ni dia what we call that ada kadang-kadang tu tak perfect. So kalau ada salah dan tersilap tu saya mohon maaf. Itu saja. So with that hopefully we can see each other in future program done by UM, and also with other outside from that. I hope that don't afraid of asking me if you need any what we call that, any information or any knowledge about the Islamic banking, especially on the treasury, which is this is my forte. Been starting from scratch, and Alhamdulillah, I'm retired at the highest achievement, whereby CIMB Islamic is still #1 in Islamic finance. And also the product that I produced, the recent one on the Islamic repo, that for liquidity management is among the first Islamic repo product in the world. With that, Alhamdulillah, God give me the encourage to berkarya dalam academics, so hopefully we can see each other in the future. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Alhamdulillah. Again, thank you to Dato' Muhammad Zabidi Ahmad. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to an end of this session. I hope that you gain some insights, valuable information, and meaningful ideas from this short talk that would contribute to your study, research, and ideas to anything you are working on. Apologize for the shortcomings personally during my task as a moderator. On behalf of the Postgraduate Studies Unit College of Business COB and Islamic Business School IBS, we would like to express our gratitude appreciation to Dato' Muhammad Zabidi Ahmad for his willingness to be present in today's event and sharing his invaluable experience. Thanks also to all the students who attended the session, and we hope that it can help to augment and magnify your research journey resolutely. Indeed, it is fruitful and beneficial to have such this program to keep nurturing the body of knowledge, and more importantly, bridging the gap between academician and the practitioner. After all, this session is very much corresponding to the national agenda in the government effort to making Malaysia Islamic financial hub, not only in Southeast Asia, but also on top of the world. We wish all the best to Dato' Muhammad Zabidi Ahmad and all the students for their future endeavors, and hope to see you again in the future event. Amazing, phenomenal, wonderful, and blessed session. Thank you for your participation, and may Allah grant His compassion in everything we attempt for good cause. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Until we meet again in the next event, sayonara, au revoir, and wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. From me, Muhammad Fikri bin Sofi. We dismiss this session with Tasbih Kifarah and Suratul As. Subhanakallah. Ladies and gentlemen, the recording of this session will be made available in the Facebook of Postgraduate Studies Unit UMCOB, and we would appreciate if you can fill in the form, Google form, for some feedback and responses. Thank you.